I remember the day it all began, the day that marked the descent into the nightmare that has haunted me ever since. It was a gloomy autumn evening, the wind howling outside my window, as I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, preparing for bed. I was a young man, living alone in a small apartment, my only companionship being my faithful cat, Whiskers. As I stared at my tired reflection, I noticed something strange. It was subtle at first, a flicker of movement that caught the corner of my eye. I turned my head, and to my horror, my reflection didn't follow suit. It remained motionless, staring back at me with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. A chill raced through my body, but I dismissed it as a trick of the mind, a mere figment of exhaustion. I blinked hard and rubbed my eyes, hoping to banish the eerie sight, but when I looked again, my reflection was back to normal. Days turned into weeks, and the incidents grew more frequent and disturbing. I would catch glimpses of movement in the corner of my eye, only to find my reflection engaged in actions I had not performed. It would smile when I was frowning, raise a hand when mine was at my side, and worst of all, it began to watch me with a malevolent gaze. Whiskers, my usually fearless feline companion, started to avoid the bathroom altogether. She would hiss and arch her back whenever I approached the mirror, her instincts sensing the ominous presence that had invaded our lives. I wished I had listened to her warning. Night after night, I would wake up drenched in sweat, plagued by nightmares of my reflection dragging me into the mirror's depths, its malicious grin etched into my mind. Each time I dared to face the mirror, it seemed to revel in my fear, mocking me with its twisted mimicry. Paranoia consumed me. I couldn't escape the feeling of being watched, even when I was alone. Shadows danced at the edges of my vision, and whispers echoed in the silence of my apartment. Sleep became a distant memory as my nights turned into a torment of anxiety and terror. In a desperate attempt to break free from this waking nightmare, I sought the help of a paranormal investigator. He listened to my tale with a grave expression, his eyes filled with a mixture of sympathy and apprehension. He warned me that I may have unknowingly awakened a dark force, a malevolent entity that had taken a hold of my reflection. The investigator performed rituals and incantations, trying to sever the connection between me and the cursed mirror. But each attempt only seemed to infuriate the entity further. It fought back with a vengeance, its rage seeping through the glass and into my very soul. I could feel myself slipping away, my sanity hanging by a thread. Every glance into the mirror revealed a more sinister reflection, twisted and distorted, a wicked smile stretching impossibly wide. The walls of my apartment seemed to close in on me, their very presence suffocating. But the true horror awaited me one fateful night. I had retired to my living room, seeking solace from the haunting gaze of the mirror. I sat on my couch, clutching a book tightly, trying to distract myself from the encroaching darkness. And that's when it happened. I felt a sudden chill, a bone-chilling breeze that seemed to crawl across my skin. I looked up, and there it was. Standing in the corner of my living room, illuminated by the pale moonlight seeping through the window, was my reflection. But it was no longer confined to the mirror. Fear gripped my heart, paralyzing me as I stared into its eyes. They were empty voids, devoid of any humanity. Its lips curled into a sinister grin, revealing jagged, yellow teeth. The reflection took a slow, deliberate step toward me, its movements jerky and unnatural. My heart raced, pounding in my chest like a war drum. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. I was trapped, a prisoner in my own home, facing a doppelganger from the darkest recesses of my nightmares. With each step, the reflection grew closer, its presence overwhelming, suffocating. I could hear whispers in my mind, twisted and distorted, as if a legion of tortured souls were beckoning me towards the abyss. It raised a hand, reaching out to touch me, and I felt the icy grip of death inching ever closer. In a surge of adrenaline-fueled desperation, I broke free from the shackles of fear and sprinted towards the front door. I didn't look back, my instincts screaming at me to flee, to escape the clutches of that abomination. I stumbled into the night, gasping for breath, my heart pounding in my ears. As I stood outside, gasping for air, I glanced back at my apartment window. The reflection was gone. But the sense of dread, the lingering anticipation, remained. I knew deep down that the horror I had faced that night would never truly leave me. Now, with every mirror I encounter, I can't help but wonder if my reflection is still lurking, waiting for its chance to strike. The uncertainty gnaws at my soul, leaving me in a constant state of unease.